Alhaji, 3 terms, right?
4.
Hey. Alhaji was in parliament for 4 terms.
16 years.
He was the minister for roads and highways. He was the minister for lands and natural resources. Then he was the deputy minister for energy. So Alhaji is quite experienced when it comes to issues in government, issues in the legislature, and of course with his record in law, also the way the judiciary. So you've virtually gone through all 3 aspects of governance. And I wonder what you were thinking when you saw the scenes that happened on Saturday, the heavy deployment, and then the recollation exercise.
Well, thank you, Senna. But is it the case that you celebrated your birthday without telling me?
That is right.
That is right.
That is right.
So I will pawn you for that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, like.
Democracies thrive when we allow the rule of law to take center stage. In fact, democracy is all about the rule of law. That people must not act with impunity. And the other side of the democracy is accountability. That everybody must be accountable for his actions. A strand of accountability is the pronouncement or the statement or the principle that we all subscribe to, we the people subscribe to, that there is equality before the law. Nobody should be above the law, and everybody must be treated equally before the law. The last statement goes to show that the Electoral Commission, being a creature of the Constitution, cannot, should not, ought not to be above the law. Now, any decision of the Electoral Commission must be consistent with the law establishing it. I mean the Constitution, the Electoral Commission Act, and the CIs promulgated by the Electoral Commission pursuant to the Constitution. Any decision taken by the Electoral Commission that is not derived from an authority given it by the Constitution or the law establishing it or the CIs is illegal. Now, that having been said, I fail to see anywhere in the CIs or the Constitution or the Act which allows the Electoral Commission to recollect results. No, there is nowhere. And I'm stating this on your network. And if the Electoral Commission believes that they have a power deriving out of the CI that mandates it to recollect results, then they can point it out to me. But I have always said that when you hit your leg against an obstacle, tumble and fall, to determine the cause of your fall, you must go back to where you hit your leg. Now, in 2020, the Electoral Commission declared results, the presidential results of the 2020 elections, came back and changed the results not less than 5 times. Sana, that activity was an illegality. But because the court did not hold the Electoral Commission accountable, that bred the impunity that we are now witnessing. That is the cause of this impunity. The electoral laws say that when the presiding member, the collation, at the collation center, declares a person as having been elected, the only course of action available to the candidate who contested the election and who feels hard done by the declaration is to go to court. Because there must be finality to every activity. To go to court to demonstrate that what the presiding member, what the member did by declaring somebody else as having been elected is not borne out by what happened in the elections. And demonstrating. That is why the High Court has been given exclusive jurisdiction to determine whether a person has been validly elected as a member of parliament. So, I mean, what the Electoral Commission is doing is totally an illegality. They know it's an illegality. Jane Mensah knows it's an illegality. The courts know it's an illegality. But everybody is quiet because Nana Akufo-Addo and his government benefited from such illegality. Benefited in 2020. And they are still in power. So, yes, I have said that what is happening is a travesty of justice. It's a matter that ought not to have happened. And an electoral commission, fair and candid and law-abiding, should have taken a different course, advised the parties to go to court to ascertain and determine whether or not they have been validly elected.
In fact, there were many young people within your party who were not happy that your party did not react on Saturday. Do you agree with them that there should have been a swift reaction from the party, that young people should have been allowed to go to the collation center and demand that the right things are done?
No, I've just spoken about democracy also.
Yes.
Democracy doesn't allow for self-help, except in very limited circumstances, especially when there is an option to right the wrong. An illegality is an illegality, cannot be allowed to stand. So, when the results of the election, fortunately, we have got less than 21 days for the president to be sworn in. And the law allows the validity of the declaration or a person having been elected as a member of parliament to be challenged within 21 days after the results of the elections is gazetted. That's what the law says. And so, why do we rush when time is on our side? We will go to court and let the court understand and appreciate the fact that what the Electoral Commission purported to do in the recollation of the results and the redeclaration is not supported by law. It's an illegality. So, and what is an illegality? It's an illegality, cannot be allowed to stand. It's as simple as that. So why do we take the law? Why should we take the law into our own hands? We have said that we want to be civil. We want Ghanaians to know that it is propaganda that has painted NDC black, but that is not our character. That is not who we are. We are a law-abiding people, and we will stick to the law. We know that the court has been bastardized. We know. But we're just waiting to see how a judge will say that in the presence of abundant evidence of illegality, he will rule otherwise.
But, in fact, your track record against the Electoral Commission in the course does not inspire a lot of hope. Because even on the day when these decisions were being made by the court, Your party was before court with the same arguments. Those arguments were thrown out, and the MPP pieces were given exactly what they were looking for. Typically, the outcome is that the EC always prevails. The MPP always prevails against you when it comes to the court, no matter how sound the argument is. So, how would you convince
Well, we
everybody
went
that
to
you
court
get that
to
decision?
restrain the Electoral Commission from engaging in that illegality. The High Court, did not give us our relief. But the substantive matter of the illegality is still in court. It's still in court. So it's not that the court dismissed our action. The court said it won't give us the injunction to restrain the Electoral Commission. So we will still have to go to court to show that what they have done is an illegality. And the electoral laws are there. I don't see where the electoral laws say you can recollect. The nearest to recollection is recounting. And there must be a condition precedent for recounting to occur at the collection center. That is when the votes have been counted at the polling station and the agent or one of the agents asks for recount and the request is refused, that agent or party can repeat the request at the collation center. That is the nearest. But even that is a recount. That's a recount.
But still, my question stands that your record with the EC against the MPP before cause does not inspire hope that you get what you're looking for.
Well,
you agree?
You
and
see,
I can cite one case after the other.
As a lawyer, the evidence seems to against the party, the NDC, and so I cannot dispute and I cannot countervail what you are saying. I cannot, because the evidence seems to against us. But I'm saying that we have a pending case in the High Court, and that pending case has not been decided yet. We were seeking an interlocutory action, a temporary measure to stop the EC from engaging in that illegality and allowing us to go through to establish that the EC did not have that jurisdiction, that authority to do what it was doing. The court said no. But that substantive case is still there. And we believe seriously that that is the case, that there cannot be recollation. There's only one collation of results. One. And so when the collation is done and a declaration is made, the option, and at the risk of repeating myself, the option for a disgruntled candidate is the court.
Well, and you know how I enjoy my arguments with you. In fact, I'll point to one legal opinion that disagrees with you. And it's made by Oliver Bakavomao. His size 279C or 297. It could be either.
297 of the Constitution?
Or 279C.
279.
Yeah. It says, in this Constitution and in any other law, where a power is given to a person, that's the C, where a power is given to a person or authority to do or enforce the doing of an act or a thing, all such powers shall be deemed to be also given as are necessary to enable that person or authority to do or enforce the doing of the act or thing. Then he jumps to the Interpretation Act 2009, Section 22. Section 22(1) that he quotes says, where an enactment confers a power or imposes a duty on a person to do an act or a thing of an administrative or executive character, or to make an appointment, the power or duty may be exercised or performed in order to correct an error or omission in a previous exercise of the power or the performance of the duty. There's this argument in support of what the Electoral Commission has done.
Well, he's talking about an inferential power derived necessarily from a power that is given to an institution, a body, or an agency. Now, that power has been given, there's an inference that they can take measures to ensure that that power is actuated. So I understand the position from which is coming. But I'm saying that the Electoral Commission, that power, in the case of the Electoral Commission, that power has clearly been spelled out. There is no omission.
Okay.
In my view is that there's no omission in the power given to the Electoral Commission.
Okay.
Because if the lawmakers wanted a recollation, number one, they would not have said that you will need to go to court within 21 days after the gazetting of the results. They would not have said so. Because at any point after the election, and even after the gazette, if I have reasons to believe that the collation of the results was otherwise not correct, I can raise it with the Electoral Commission, and the Electoral Commission will recollate. That was not the intention of the drafters of the Constitution. And secondly, an Electoral Commission is a referee. It's a referee. And so the referee must be seen to be acting fairly and impartially. So it cannot be a law unto itself. With the greatest respect to Oliver Baka Vomawo, the Electoral Commission cannot be a law unto itself. So where there is a specific provision dealing with the administrative powers of a body, you can use a general provision like Article, I think it's 297 of the Constitution and not 279. You cannot use a general provision of the Constitution to override the specific powers given to the Electoral Commission.
Alhaji, thank you very much. And I know when you did a lot of campaign in the North. Are you happy with the results the campaign you did together with many other people have achieved?
I told you, Senna, that one lesson that I learned from the campaign was that NDC is very popular with the rural people in this country. In some communities that we went to, and we visited not less than 135 communities in the northern region. In some communities that we went to, and we did that in only 14 constituencies, not the 18 constituencies. In some communities that we went to, if you took out the developmental projects brought to that community by the NDC, and the Rawlings and the Atamils, John Dramani Mama, that community will be left with no development. It will go back into a cottage or a village, or you will not have those essential and necessary developmental projects in that community, and there will be nothing there. But what happened was we had somehow, and I'm speaking specifically of the northern region, and I'm to blame, and most of us are to blame, because I was a member of parliament for the Tamale Central constituency, and my wealth in parliamentary primaries and parliamentary elections started and ended with the Tamale Central constituency. I never strayed into any other constituency. Now, even if I went to some other constituency, I was only in the capital of that constituency trying to launch a campaign or help the member of parliament there. But this campaign exposed me to the rural areas. And when we went round, the people were so happy seeing us for the first time, and that was why we were able to record this level of electoral victory. Yes, we had said that we were going to win not less than 14 seats. Two mistakes happened in Pandai and in Gushegu. Pandai, we had identified Pandai as a vulnerable constituency. We went there 2 times. We mobilized and galvanized the NDC support base in Pandai, including those in the diaspora, to come to Pandai. Somehow, the people had made up their mind, and like we are being told today, the people seem to have made up their mind long before we went there. And so we could not redeem that constituency. We could not save that constituency. Now, in Gushegu, that is what we have to look at again. Because there was every indication that Tamale was going to lose. Every indication that he was going to lose. How he survived, I still cannot tell. Those 2 seats added to Woolensey, which was also very vulnerable. 2 Nanumbers were contesting a Konkomba who went independent. The Konkomba candidate, the independent candidate, did not campaign in the Nanumba constituencies, Nanumba communities, but he won the election. Simply put, he mobilized the Konkomba communities and they gave him the numbers. And Konkombas are about 65% of the Woolensey constituency. And so he won. The good thing is that Stanley, who is the independent candidate, was an NDC member. I can't say was an NDC member because by our party constitution, if you run against the party, you lose your membership of the party. And so if you look at his antecedents, having been an NDC member, there's every indication and likelihood that he might do business with the NDC. So yes, in Karga, it was a difficult task, but we were quite confident that we were going to upset Anta in Karga, the finance minister. He has confided in somebody that he survived because he realized that he had to concentrate on his constituency. Because he was finance minister, he was gallivanting around the northern region, trying to help other members of parliament or pieces of the MPP party to win those seats. But when we entered Karga, it forced him back to Karga, and so that was how he was able to hold on to the seat. Even though Dandawa, who was our PC, is still raising issues of impropriety. In Tolong, we had hoped, and I did a lot of work in Tolong. We had hoped that we will upset Habib, who is the member of parliament for Tolong. He also used some other strategies by galvanizing the support base at places like Chirifoyile, which is the stronghold of the MPP, and causing mayhem in the stronghold of the NDC by shooting somebody dead on the election day, putting fear in the people of Nyankpala from coming out in their numbers to vote. And by that combination, the maximizing his support base in Chirifoyile and that area, and places around that area, and putting fear in our support base, members of our support base, stronghold, not to come out and vote, he was able to win us by about 5,000 votes. And that is a marked, depreciation in his votes, comparing what he got in 2024 with what he got in 2020. So I'm totally satisfied.
Mm. Well, ultimately, what do you think should happen in the case of Tolon? Because there's clearly a criminal element what happened.
Yeah, so like I said in my prelude to the Electoral Commission's behavior, everybody must be held accountable for his actions. The NDC as a party has pledged to hold even past atrocities, persons who committed past atrocities accountable, because time doesn't run against the commission of a crime. And so even the 8 people who were killed in the 2020 elections, we in the NDC have promised to hold those who were responsible accountable. What do we say, or what can we say about those offenses that were created or committed in the 2024 elections? We'll equally hold them accountable.
Alhaji, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And for your interest in my birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday to you. Belated though.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Alhaji.